My name is Kimmy Giselle, and on my channel I teach you how to be better and love better through my mental health and relationship videos. Alrighty, if you didn't already know, I teach mental health on Sundays and I post relationship videos on Wednesdays. So I hope you guys can catch them both because they do go hand in hand. And mind you, I am recording right now at like 1 a.m. so I am a little delirious, so sorry. Alrighty, let's just jump right into the video. So we're talking about standards and boundaries. Last week we talked about key ways to attract a man. So say you did attract that man, you need to have those standards and boundaries in place. We're going to go over, if I'm looking down, this is what I'm looking at. We're going to go over standards versus boundaries specifically. So an example of a standard that I have, a standard is something you hold for yourself. So example of my standard is I need to exercise regularly. That's a standard for me. That's nobody else's problem. That's me. Now, a boundary is something you set up for others to respect. So this is going to be a relationship example. So for me, a standard I have is I will not be in an abusive relationship. I communicate to my partner that, and now that is his boundary. If he crosses that, if he hits me, that is my cue to leave because he has now just crossed the boundary and that is my standard, so that's my cue to leave. If I stay in the relationship, I'm lowering my standards. Got it? So that's kind of like the difference of a standard versus a boundary because they're kind of similar. All right, so now we're just going to go into why it's important. Right, so number one is you teach him how to treat you right from the start of the relationship. So in the beginning of the relationship, it is understandable, and a lot of times women like to be like, oh, like, I don't want to seem too pushy, or I don't want to, like, push him away by telling him this is what, all these rules. And the thing is that if you continue in that relationship and there was things that bothered you, but you didn't say anything, likely it's going to happen again throughout the relationship. And once you've already reinforced the behavior, like once you ignored it, you didn't tell him anything, he's going to bring that up. So say whatever the behavior is, say, I don't know, he always cancels or he always changes his plans. Say you never said anything in the beginning and it keeps happening throughout the relationship. He's going to be like, well, you never said anything in the beginning. Why are you saying something now? Like, he's going to throw that in your face. So that's why it's important to really set those standards and boundaries in place in the beginning. You don't have to be mean about it. You don't have to be like, well, I don't like that, and kind of go off on him because, again, you guys are just learning about each other, and maybe his previous relationship or in his past, no one ever told him that, that was an issue with them. But it's a new relationship. Make sure you're setting those boundaries and so that he can respect them. So again, one, you teach a man how to treat you. All right, number two. Men find women with standards and boundaries high quality. So a lot of times women don't have those standards and boundaries in place, or they're easily compromised. The guys know how to work their way around them. But when a woman has them, really in place and she, sticks to them, they're like, dang, this is different. I have to be a certain way in order to be with her. So that is high quality. He's not just doing whatever he wants. And that brings me to number three, is that they love the chase. So again, it's not a game, but the thing is, when you have those standards and boundaries in place, a man wants to live up to those expectations. So he's going to do, that's what almost kind of what helps him stay in the relationship, is that he wants to be that man for you. And that's a challenge for him. Number three, so that was number three, is he loves the chase, having those standards and boundaries. Which then brings me to number four, is being authentic. If you are changing your standards and you're kind of, saying one thing then doing another, or being hypocritical, then he's gonna know that you're not really being, authentic with your standards and boundaries, and he's not gonna like that, and he's gonna catch on, and it's gonna be a whole thing. So make sure you're being authentic with them. Make sure you're sticking to them throughout the relationship, and you're not being hypocritical about them either. So if you say that, for example, say you don't like him going out with his friends by himself, like you'd rather have you guys be together and go out, then you can't go out with your friends to the club by yourself, because that's being hypocritical. So again, every relationship is different. You guys come to those boundaries and agreements, but don't be hypocritical about it either. All right. Okay, sorry. Again, it's 1 in the morning. Alrighty, so number 5. I kind of already talked about this, but again, reinforcing a behavior is going to cause that behavior to go up. So that's kind of like big words. But basically saying it's okay or not saying anything at all is giving attention to that behavior, and they're likely to do it again. But if you tell them, I don't like that, or don't do that, or that makes me feel uncomfortable, you're stopping it. And if they respect you, if that man respects you, he's likely to not do it again. We're just going to go into some examples now. So an example, okay, so the first example, my standard. If he cheats on me, then that is the end of the relationship. No ifs, ands, or buts, no trying to work it out. If he cheats on me, that's the end of the relationship. That's my standard. He knows my standard. If he cheats, he has crossed the boundary. That is my cue to leave, because I'm not lowering my standards. And again, this is also comes up too, is that if you lower your standards for him, you just communicated to yourself that same thing. So you just lowered your self-value. You just communicated to yourself that it's okay if he cheats, even though you're like, no, I know it's not okay. Well, you're in the relationship. You stayed with him. He's, obviously in every relationship, everyone has different standards and boundaries. That's just mine. And yeah, so if you're willing to work on it, then that's you. But again, this is just an example. My standard is, if he cheats on me, I'm out. He cheats, cross the boundary, I'm out. All right? So let's just do one more. The last one is, first date. This is important. So first dates are so important because, again, we're trying to be like, as a female, like, oh, I'm not trying to set all these rules or whatever. Or sometimes females are trying to be like, what is that? Like assertive. Yeah. So the thing, okay, I'm gonna tell you the thing about both. So I kind of already explained why, when you're trying to like just be, trying to be low key and not say anything, why that's a problem. Again, because it's gonna keep happening, and if you don't tell them that you don't like it, it's never, it's not gonna, it's gonna continue. It's gonna continue happening. It's gonna continue happening throughout the relationship. That's why you need to tell him. Then we have the assertive ones that are like, you don't do that. I'm not the type of woman to do that. You don't take me home. Blah, 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 blah. And now that one, the assertive one, I get being assertive. But again, you're just getting to know the person. And he might not know. He might just be testing you. And so you don't have to be so aggressive about it and work yourself up. Just be like, hey, okay, but if he continues after you told him not to, then you do what you gotta do. But if, it's the first time, say he wants to take you home. And he's like, oh, do you want to go back to my place? Maybe in the past, all the females he has asked that said yes. And so he's asking you to see where you stand. So if he asks you, do you want to go back to my place after, the end of a date, don't just be like, what type of woman do you think I am? No, I don't want to go back to your place, and just kind of, go off on him, because again, it's the first time. He doesn't know. The previous woman, he said yes. So now he's trying it on you. He's testing your limits. So just be like, I had a really fun date. If you did have a fun date and you do want to see him again, just be like, I had a really fun date, but I don't feel comfortable going back to your place. Maybe in the near future, or once we get to know each other. So again, you're telling him that, yes, I am interested in you, but no, this is too early. I'm not going to go back to your place. But 3, again, you're telling him, but I hope in the future, if we get together again, that, or if this continues, that I will go over. You're showing him that you are interested in him. Then you set that boundary, and then you go on with whatever goes on. But that's basically it. Wait, one more. One more is just tips. So if you're not in a relationship and you kind of don't know your standards and boundaries, make sure you really just sit down and talk to yourself. And yes, that's weird, and I talk about that on my mental health videos, so I hope you guys go watch those. But really just sit down with yourself and imagine scenarios and really feel it. Like, again, your brain can't tell the difference between something imaginary and something that's actually happening. So just imagine it and feel if something is comfortable or uncomfortable. I always go by a rule: if something is uncomfortable, that's probably a standard or a boundary that you need to set. If it's uncomfortable for you, listen to your body, because your body is always sending you signals. Again, so sit down, imagine some things, write down what you would accept and what you wouldn't accept. And again, everyone's going to be different, so kind of just go based on what you want. Don't go asking your friends, because their standards are different than yours. All right. Anyways, that is all I have for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I post again Sundays and Wednesdays, so I hope you guys can subscribe. If you have any tips, questions, comments, feel free to comment those down below, or even comment some of your boundaries that you've set in place for yourself, some of the standards you've set in place for yourself, just so we can start a conversation. And again, thank you guys for watching this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Boss up and change your life.